Hi, folks. I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my political cartoon countdown and Ukraine update for May 16th, 2022. Every week or so, we get together and we do the countdown based upon impressions on Twitter, the most popular cartoons, and I give you an update on the Ukraine war, what's going on over there, and I try to inject my own view aside from what's actually going on. So that said, let's get started. First of all, I want to give you here's the basic map of Ukraine right here. Here we go. Yeah. Now, the latest thing here is in Mariupol, in that steel factory. They've released, the civilians have all been released, as far as I know, and they're in the hands. It's been confirmed by the Red Cross that they're in safe hands in Ukraine. They're in safe hands, confirmed by the Red Cross. So that's really the number one story here. And also, I would say number two here is the fact that Finland and Sweden are applying for NATO membership in NATO, which previously they had been strictly neutral about joining, about becoming part of it. They just wanted to maintain their neutrality between Russia and NATO and the NATO. They wanted to be neutral, and now they've shifted. They see the dangers involved, and they're switching to joining NATO. And that's a big story here because Finland is right on the border, shares an 800-mile border with Russia. You can see how concerned they might have been. Finland might have been. There's Russia, and there's Finland right over here, and Sweden is following along. Sweden is also going along and joining. So you could see, once they went into Finland, they sure as hell would have gone into Sweden. There's no question about that, you know. So these folks are thinking ahead, and they're planning accordingly, and joining NATO. Okay. Another thing that happened just recently is they've been a long-range missile attack on a military installation near Lviv, out in the west. Out in the west, near Lviv. Now, I don't think they hit the city so that tells you that they're targeting strategic. In this case, they targeted a strategic position here, a military installation of some kind, a training camp or a munitions factory. It was something militarily strategically that they targeted with missiles. These long-range targeted missiles came in over here. Other than that, up here in Kharkiv, the Ukrainians are making headway in taking back territory around the Kharkiv area. They're making headway in taking over some territory around Kharkiv. Okay. And the NATO secretary, the NATO chief, says Ukraine can win this war, and our military generals have said to win the war they define it differently. To win the war is to kick the Russians out of Ukraine, and to do that, a number of generals have said that Ukraine will require MiGs, Air Force jet fighters. In other words, the advantage would be that the Russians won't have total control of the air, and these MiG fighter jets can shoot down some of the missiles and protect the supplies coming in from the west, and also protect a lot of troops. And also, in terms of the submarine missiles that are being fired, you see, the Russians really don't have enough forces now to go in and take Odessa. So what they're doing is they're out here from the Black Sea, and they're firing long-range missiles from subs below the surface into Odessa. A lot of that. So if they had some sort of an air force, you had your MiGs, then you'd be able to to basically use depth charges and go after some of those submarines. Maybe. I'm no military expert, but it sounds logical. You remember those World War II movies? When we used to see those pictures. When I was a kid, I used to watch the Silent Service in the 50s, and they had a show about underground. It was called the Silent Service, about submarines in warfare during World War II. And then they'd yell out, okay, dive for depth charges, dive for depth charges. You know, you go into the periscope and go, dive for depth charges. So that would be like, the Russians would have to dive for depth charges from the MiGs if the Ukrainians got those planes. So that's why I call out to NATO. It's really NATO who has control of that because they have all the MiGs, and the U.S. has like two different kinds of airplanes that the Ukrainians take a long time for them to learn how to fly. So, the Ukrainians are losing a lot of men now, more than they have been, and that's because of the type of terrain they're fighting on. It's not like they were fighting in big buildings or open places, and the Russians have a lot of reinforcements coming in. So, the way I see it is, this is just my opinion, and nothing else more than that. But the Ukrainians are going to need two things to hold the fort. They're going to need more men somehow, and they're going to need MiGs. And that's just my opinion. And I could be wrong. And I hope I am wrong, but that's my opinion. So I always like to give you my opinion along with the facts as what's happening. And that's basically it here. Okay, here we are. Okay, so they're doing, like I said, they're doing well in the Kharkiv area, and they've been pushing into trying to kind of along the Russian border there, making the Russians a little nervous, So they've moved on that border, So that's what's been going on, and it's really a tug of war here. It's give and take here in the Donbass area. The Russians are not doing well. But it's fluid. One week they're doing a little bit better, the next week they're not. So it's a fluid situation. And you could say in the Donbass it's sort of a stalemate, and a stalemate is not a victory, especially if you're losing. If the Russians have more men than you have, and they have these submarines that they can hit you with, and have all kinds of military equipment, So, anyway, that's it for me on that. I'm not going to push anything too hard because I'm not qualified to do that. But I'm just giving you my very humble opinion. Okay, let's get to the cartoon countdown here. Okay, now here we have numero dos de la semana, number 2 of the week. Here we have former President Trump has a dream in the wake of watching Putin's victory parade in Moscow on May 9th, 2022, of his own 2024 presidential victory military parade. Having won in 2024 in his dream of becoming the president again for a second term, he decides that he's going to have a military inauguration parade. You see? So to match Putin's parade for May 9th, he's going to have a military inauguration parade, and had the former president dreaming of his Russian version standing in a Russian defense the minister's Rolls-Royce convertible. So the defense minister drove down on Red Square. When he went through Red Square, he was like that, and he had a big cap on, and he was saluting, and he was standing up in a Rolls-Royce convertible. So I took that image and I applied it here to President Trump's dream. And there he is. There's the dream. He's dreaming here. See? And there is President Trump giving the thumbs up. Yeah, there's the driver here. The American flag, the Rolls-Royce, and everything, the convertible Rolls-Royce. And here is the rocket missile launchers in the background trailing behind him. Okay, the U.S. missile launches in a military parade. Could be down Pennsylvania Avenue, and there the Trump supporters with their red hats on, saluting now President Trump again for his second term in office. waving the flag here. There they are. Okay, and there goes the parade. Let's just go through here. There goes the parade. Okay, and then President Trump says, this is the largest presidential inauguration victory parade in history. In other words, there was dispute on his first inauguration in 2016. He claimed that the media downplayed that his was the biggest in history in terms of crowd turnout, and the media tried to make it a small turnout. So he's going to now say the American people will not believe fake news reports of low attendance. They have proven they know better. They re-elected me. And there he goes. Okay, and there's the crowd waving. Okay. All right, numero uno de la semana. Where did number one go? Okay. Where's number one? Okay. All right. Here's number one of the week. This is, we have here a UN Carvana. The UN is now relegated to being a UN Carvana, and we have here Putin in a tank, and we have the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. So the story behind this whole scenario is, I'm going to tell it to you like it is. When I read it, I think it's better in a way to tell it to you as it is, in my own words, face to face with you. So UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he went to visit, made a trip for the express purpose of a humanitarian mission to get President Putin to be more humane to the people, to the civilians who are under this terrible thing that's going on in all these cities that's going on, and especially Mariupol at the time was before the civilians were released. That was a dreadful situation. So he went under that flag of humanitarian effort, and he decided to visit President Putin first, and then go to President Zelensky. Putin first in Moscow, and President Zelensky second in Kiev. So what happened was that he did just that, and when he got to Kiev, he made his pitch to President Putin, and Putin agreed in principle that the civilians should get some kind of help and security as far as getting out of there in principle. He didn't commit to anything, but he agreed to it in principle. And so when UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres arrived in Kiev, the last thing he probably expected was to be welcomed by Russian missiles attacking him. Not attacking him, but attacking in the proximity to where he was. But that's exactly what happened. These missiles came in and targeted right near the hotel, right near his hotel, following a meeting with Zelensky. After the meeting with Zelensky, they attacked right near his hotel with missiles, the Russians. So he got a little upset, and he was very, quote, shocked. He stated in his own words that he was shocked at that. You see? So I put a scenario in that had UN Secretary Antonio Guterres visit Zelensky first and then gone to Putin. It would have been an even worse scenario. So the scenario that would have happened would have resulted in, it would have humiliated the UN to such a degree that it would become just a joke, in a sense, a sad joke. So that's how I drew this thing here, and then I drew Putin in in a tank here. Okay, and then I drew Gutierrez speaking to him there. Okay. Okay, and then I have the dialogue. Putin saying the UN Security Council has not condemned Ukraine for its Nazi government. He did accuse, President Putin did accuse them of being a Nazi government, in spite of the fact that Zelensky happens to be Jewish, you know. And Gutierrez has insulted Russia. He would have insulted Russia again if he would have gone first to Zelensky and then to Russia, which he did not do. But he still got the missiles anyway. So this would have magnified the situation to the extent that this is what would have happened. That's my thesis, my presentation here in this cartoon. Okay? So then you have here President Putin. If you support the UN's mission of upholding human rights, you will earn great karma reward. Karma means a very nice feeling of being secure and safe and happiness and satisfaction. You see? So then he said, my reward, the UN as now a Carvana machine. That's Putin's reward here. And there's the UN as a Carvana machine. Okay, there it is. Okay, that's the UN Carvana. All right, I want to thank you very much, folks, for watching my cartoon countdown and Ukraine update for today. And I wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves and don't let anything get you down. Just hang in there. And I'll see you again. And God bless you and God bless America. I'll see you again, folks. Take care. Bye.